No,
final project?
There will be a project. This semester I will put a project. It will be only 20%. It's not 30%. And I'm building it up for you. Okay. So by the end of the semester, you will be done with it. And we are really well prepared this semester. So.
עמוס, יהיה לנו מבחן גם.
Can it will be 80%.
Okay.
Last semester it was 70%. I thought it's a better balance this way, and I will be a little loose on the projects after all, and I will help you to make the projects. It's not really easy with your knowledge in Python, your knowledge in statistics, your knowledge in so limited. It's almost impossible you'll be able to do a decent projects. But I still want to give you a decent projects, and I want to help you. And if you do it, it means at least you understand how a project is made. By the way, after we finish chapter 1, chapter 2, it's all about how to build a complete projects from A to Z in machine learning. Okay, guys, let's start. What are we going to do today? Let me just wrap what we did so far, okay? Everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody already familiar with the website? Yeah. I noticed, I think, let me just double check. I want us to make sure if there is one that it's not registered. Let me just go over the list. This is my management tools. You don't have that one, you have something else. Everyone's supposed to join a group. And we are in, no, we are here, machine learning. Here we go. This is our course, but I did notice there are some students have not joined the group. One person, Elon, Nietzsche, Michael, and they are not joined. They didn't join a group, and there's someone that didn't put his name. That's why I know it, but I can't really tell who he is. But by knowing his user ID, I can't really access anything. It's secured. Even I cannot go into his name. So please, those guys, please join a group. And this guy, please, whoever it is, please put your name and join a group. Otherwise, by next week, I'm going to use, I have a function that automatically will allocate you to a random group. You will not like it, and maybe your colleague will not like it. Like if I click on this one, it will assign the other ones that didn't choose a group automatically. And I don't want to do that. Okay, I want that everyone, so I will check by, let's say by the end of the week, I will check that everybody is already in a group, and this one is also put his name. That will be perfect. But please, Moria, I sent already an email regarding that, but everybody that in the class is supposed to be registered here, and those are the groups. That's very important, especially in this course. I'm going to utilize it more. Okay, that's just a comment before I start. Going to the course, let me log in as a student, so my screen will look just like yours without all the complications. I don't know if anybody noticed, I added 2 more languages.
I saw French.
See, there is English, French, Arabic, Spanish. Let's go to the courses. I'm going to machine learning. And here we go. We are really still in chapter 1, but we did a lot of stuff. What I did last time, just a recall, we went over chapter 1 in the beginning. I covered that material, what is machine learning, blah, blah. I gave you also some homework. I gave you also take a test. The first part is mostly on that. Then we talked about, types of, supervised learning, non-supervised learning, by the way, I just added, totally in the original book, but this is a case that I'm working on. By the way, this is a really good example. It's a real, by the way, I just filed that opinion. It's my expert witness in a case, and I just filed it up. I tested the system that's supposed to take pictures of people that getting into the room, He spotted a person walks in to the room and he takes your picture. First time, he doesn't know who you are. So for any new face, he will make a new row for a new face. And then when he sees you the next time, he's supposed to be able to put your face in the right list. Okay? This is really a semi-supervised learning. Why? He doesn't really know that I'm Amos. He can only be able to put my pictures in the same row. So I go manually and label it, and I call it Amos. Okay? That's why it's semi-supervised. It's not supervised in the sense that he takes the pictures by himself and he associates pictures together. But he cannot say that this is Amos. He has no information to know that this is Amos. But after the fact, when I look at the pictures, I can say Amos. But if I put that one in the exam, will you say this one has a problem, this program has a problem? The answer is supposed to be yes, definitely yes. If you go, first of all, he identifies Sigal twice as two different people. That's a big problem of a system like that. Secondly, he identified Amos, this is me by the way, with someone else's pictures. All those is the same person, but sometimes when I walked in, he recognized and he thought that it's me. By the way, it wasn't coincident that I was able to fool him. If you notice, I have light here. Everybody sees that? Hello, Morial? Hello?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
emailing Einat.
Ah, good. So how did I fool him, by the way? How did I fool him? I put a light on the top of my head, and I phenomenal with cameras. When you put light and the quality of the camera is not good enough, it will not be able to recognize me correctly. It's blurred. Camera will blurring. So I was able to fool him. So I was able to fool him. I don't know, this is recognized with twice different people. Here, in fact, there's two types of people here. They're very similar. They have beard, and the beard really confused him. A good system will be able to identify even just by the eyes. I have tens of artists. Some people have artists on recognize people by just recognizing the face, which is very cool. So I thought this is a really good example. I'm working on this case, and I thought it's a good things to share with you. This is real life example, not just any theoretical example. So anything that we're learning in this course, it's real stuff that's useful in real life, by the way. Okay, let me move on.
Amos, where is this from?
Say again. Hi, Mrs. Scott.
Hello.
מה שלומך, מאיה?
Great. Where is this from, what you just showed us?
That's I took it from a case I'm working, real life case.
Okay.
It's part of a case that I have to testify in court on is the system fulfilling what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
Apparently,
No, I heard you. I was wondering, like, where is it, like a platform or a website, or
no,
what is
in fact, somebody built a cameras. They built the whole system on Amazon Web Services. And if you install these machines, these cameras in your home, that machine is supposed to recognize everybody that walks to the room.
Okay.
And my job was, does it do it or it doesn't? And my conclusion was it doesn't. And I just explained why.
Okay.
Secondly, it's to try to understand why it doesn't do it. What are the reasons? Is the camera is bad? Well, that's the way that I was able to fool the camera. Definitely the camera is not good enough, okay? Secondly, it's the whole structure, the build, the whole system. It's a very complex computer vision field, and how to recognize images by just seeing your face or just seeing your eyes. That's more advanced course. More goes into deep learning. It's a course that I probably will build, but I don't think I will have enough students in Israel. So it probably will be international course that I will teach. It's a fascinating topic, really beautiful. Honestly, you are lucky to be young and have the whole opportunities to just study beautiful stuff, really beautiful. If I were you, I wouldn't give up. I would study the whole day. It's you will get so excited in some. It's exciting because that's not trivial when you really understand how it works and you understand the mathematics. It's all mathematics, believe it or not. Unfortunately, I can't get into it in this class, but it's all mathematics. By the way, what is a picture? If I tell you, describe the best way picture. Picture, it's a matrix. It's in fact 3 matrices of about 1,000 by 1,000, like 1,000,000 numbers in the first matrix, second matrix, 3 matrices. So I have a 3,000,000 numbers. That's a picture. Why do I need 3 matrices? Because each one is for a different color. And we know with 3 colors, you can build up all the other colors. So a colored picture, it's nothing by about 3,000,000, a little more of numbers. Now, modifying it, moving it, that's all mathematics. It's advanced mathematics, but it's beyond the scope of this course. But I thought this is a really good example to give you to see. Okay, then we talked about reinforcement learning. Reinforcement, that's also a very advanced course. Hopefully I will get to that toward the end of the semester. If we don't, at least I will expose you to what it's supposed to do. There is a really nice description here. What does it really mean, reinforcement learning? It's really imitating how a baby studies, how a baby learns stuff. You know, a baby first starts walking. Hey, well, what happened to him? Start walking and he falls. Well, he realized he didn't move his leg right. And then he stand up again, walks a little better and fall again and keep falling and refixing his, you know, when he falls, it's like a negative reward. He's getting like negative reward. Well, I did the wrong step, so I should really move differently. And it goes on and on until he learns how to walk. So look at the reinforcement, how to learn to do something or take the right actions by doing it over and over. Beautiful topic. You know, the game Go is built on this one, playing this game of ping pong. It's also built and it can win people. You can use it playing chess against people. Eventually you will win that person because the machine keeps learning. It's beautiful topic. I hope we get that. If not, well, I, in any case, will put the whole material in the website. But I'm not sure we'll get to that. It's quite advanced topic. Okay, then we went into how do I teach an algorithm? And then we mentioned that there is batch learning and online learning. For you in this point, that means teach the algorithm by giving him, say, 1,000 cases, or I teach him by every time I give him a new case and he learns. Doesn't mean much to you now. As we go along, I will explain it deeper. But why do we want online learning? Because sometimes I have a website, people come to the website and I analyze something about it. So right after every new customers visit my website, I want to modify my algorithm to be better. Okay, I don't want to wait until 1,000 customers come to my algorithm and then teach the algorithm. So online, it's the most popular today. It used to be only batch learning. Now it is mostly online. Maybe not every customer, but let's say every 10 or every 100, and then you will learn from those one and modify the performance of that algorithm. That's a general knowledge. Since we haven't done it, so it's mean less, but it will be clearer as we see more examples. Okay, then we went into instance-based learning and model learning. Then I mentioned, well, there's 2 ways I can learn from my example. Let's say I'm in a class, okay? And I walk into the class and I see that in the class, all the girls were red and all the boys were blue, okay? A new person, I don't know if he is a girl or a boy, and he walks with a shirt which is red. Well, if I learn from the class, is most likely a girl because all the girls come with a red shirt. Okay, so I'm learning by seeing the cases, and if I have a new case which is close to the people with the same characters, I would say it's most likely this one. Okay, that's called instance learning. On the other hand, I can do the same, and I say, you know what? People have those two characteristics. Okay, and I noticed that all the girls are on this side, for example, I'm just making it up, and the boys are on this side. So I can divide a model that will make this line, and every new person that will come with the characteristics in this region, I will say it's a girl. And anyone that will be on the other side of the line, I will say it's a boy. Okay, that's what did I do now? I in fact developed, I said I'm using a model, and I teach the model in such a way it will be able to draw that line for me. I intentionally divided it to two parts. It's very important. I chose a model, and then I told the model, can you please divide those two groups? So I have a model choice and then training the model. So I could have used the model that it's a straight line. Straight line will not do a good job here because there's no way I can draw a line. Doesn't matter which way I will draw it, it will know how to separate between those two. So I chose like kind of a polynomial model, which I will mention later on, and he knows how to do that a little better. So I have choosing a model, and I have to train the model, and we reiterate that idea as we go along. Okay, then we finish. Before we stopped, we took the example. I took here example, in fact, in the book, it's a good example in the right place. You studied linear regression, and usually what you should have learned is that you look at the dots and you ask yourself, is this really could be represented by a line? And the answer it is, you know, just by looking in your eyes. You print it and you can draw some line here, it looks like. Okay, so you say, okay, I decide to use a model, linear model, because it makes sense. A linear line, simplest, could work probably. Then which line and how do I draw it? And we know in a linear line, the y as a function of the x. Here I have the GDP per capita, and I have life satisfaction. Let me explain what it means, and I put some questions for you to really explore, and we're going to do it today, by the way, okay? We will get our hand dirty. On the other hand, I will take the fear of you by showing you the objects that I built specially for this course and other projects that I work on, okay? So after I decided it is a linear model, okay, I need to know the parameters. Linear model, usually a linear line have y equal to one parameter plus the slope times the x. The x here, it's GDP per capita. We'll have a database, we have a database, I will go over that today, that shows me GDP for different countries. And I have another index of OECD that shows me in a survey that they have made, how happy are people? And I want to see, is there any relationship between, if a country is rich, it means I have a higher GDP per capita. Is that correlate, or that has a relationship to how happy are people in that country? So every dot here is a different country that, let's take this one, it's one of the countries, okay? The GDP per country, in this one, it's about here, 22, 23 probably, and how happy they are about almost 5.5 or close to 6. That's as much as happy. If I look at Korea, I took some countries in different colors.
Amos,
yeah?
can you zoom in, please? Like, make it a bit bigger.
This one, yeah, definitely. Thank you. That's better?
That's better.
Beautiful. Okay. If I look at Korea, Korea have a GDP around, I would say, 28, 29, okay? And they have happiness about 6. Let's take US, okay? GDP, it's about a little less than 60, and the index is about almost 8, okay? Is there a relationship between those two variables? Seems like. That's question number 1. Second, which kind of a relationship is it? And the simplest model you can think about is probably a linear, meaning let's draw a line. Only I will draw a line here, would be quite a good representative. So first one is we chose the model, and then we're going to estimate what will be those parameters that will be the best line. Because based on the theta 0 and theta 1, it will make a different line. If theta 0 is -8 and theta 1 is -5, I will get a line like this. This is not a good representative. On the other hand, if I use theta 0,4 and theta, sorry, here it was 8, not -8, okay? Apologize. This is -5, but this is 8. It's starting from the 0.8. This one, if theta 0 is 4, it's the point, the line starts, that's the theta 0, that's where it starts, and the theta 1, it's the slope. By the way, this is a really small number, but it has a slope. Is that represent the best? Well, I don't know. Maybe there is a better one. So that's called for developing what we call performance index. I would like to choose theta 0 and theta 1 in such a way that I would get my performance index or measure to be the best. One thing you probably have studied in linear algebra in the course of econometrics or statistics, that you want a line, okay? You want to draw a line that all the data will be as close as possible to it. This one is a performance measure. My performance measure is how close are the points to the line that I am going to choose. After I make that performance measure, I will choose theta 0 and theta 1 in such a way that that performance will be the best. In this sense, the performance measure will be as low as possible. Low as possible is because the distance square, if you learn a linear algebra, or you learn more correctly to say linear model in econometrics, you take the difference between the dots to the line, you square it and you add them all up. You want to bring it as low as possible. And you choose theta 0 and theta 1 such that that performance measure will be as low as possible. So we learn another concept, a performance measure. When we got to that point, I made a summary of everything and I stopped here. Okay, that's the way we started the course. I stopped here and I said, hold a second, guys. We can continue because we can talk forever. You think you understand, but you really don't. You really have to get your hand dirty and to be able at least to understand a code that somebody writes. At least that's the minimum you should know. The best things, the maximum is you really be able to write your own code and don't be afraid. I will provide you all the material to choose from. For the exam, I will ask a passive knowledge. I will use in such a level that I don't really require you to get 10. I will be around the 6 in the level that I will require for the test. And I will lead you to that. So what we did, first of all, we did a review of Python, what you should have studied in your Python class. We also had a session on, in that session, I also mentioned object-oriented. Then the following section, we reviewed object-oriented, and then I moved into 2 topics. One, it's pandas, which very important library in machine learning, and another library called NumPy. The pandas I taught live, and NumPy I recorded and uploaded for you to study by yourself. When we get to the NumPy, I will mention stuff that I put in the video. I strongly recommend you watch the video, do a little bit homework, but I'm not requiring you to be expert, okay? Over the course, you will be exposed enough, it will be easier and it will get easier, but I didn't really want to but spend more correctly a whole session on NumPy. I think at this point you can see the video and learn it on your own, and I will complete that knowledge with you. What we're going to do now, it's going to this object, machine learning object. I will continue the learning of the course, okay, and show all those examples. But before I go to this one, I want to go backward. By the way, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to focus on learning what I call basic machine learning object. That's an object that I made. I'm going to go over the structure of the framework that you have to learn all that stuff. And as I do that, I'm going to go backward. I'm going to go here, and how do we create it? For example, this chart. How do we create it? This chart. By the way, in the book, you have the code. I just organized it nicely for you in a framework, so it will be easy for you to follow, and hopefully in the future to create your own code without being afraid, okay? So I'm gonna do all of those, and that will be really a good exercise. So let's start. I'm opening PyCharm. First time we're opening, let me just restart the whole things. By the way, is there anyone that didn't install what I gave you in the installation? I think everybody has. It works the same on Mac. It works the same on Windows. So the PyCharm works exactly. Let me start it all over so you can see how I get into it. I close that. I minimize this one. Let me close this one. And I'm going to, I have PyCharm right down here. After I install that, I click on it. Since I was already in the project, we're going to open automatically my projects. In case it is not, you don't have it opening automatically for this project, you can always use file open project. Here, let me demonstrate it. Let me close everything. Okay, I will close everything. So in case you will be in that situation, you know what to do. I'll do it even more than that. I will do file and I will do exit. I'm exiting the project. So in case you get to that point, I will click on PyCharm. I just want to make sure that in case you don't say anything, you know how to continue. By the way, Maria, please even send 2 WhatsApp to the students. Every session is such a valuable session, and please tell them that Amos said, every session you really should take advantage of it. Definitely don't wait to the end of the semester. It will be very hard to make up for so much knowledge. It will be almost impossible. So I'm breaking it down. And yeah, go ahead.
I think that because of the software you opened, your computer didn't let us hear what you have to say. Like it was, we couldn't understand what you just said for the past minute, maybe.
Okay, so let me repeat. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's fine. But when it was uploading itself, like we couldn't hear. I think maybe it's just me.
No,
but
I will repeat it. That's fine. What I just said that when you open a project, okay, I have already that opened before. I think all of you already have opened it, okay? So when I go back, let me close it, and I will not talk when it's opening. When I click on PyCharm, it's going to open that project. Okay. Can you hear me now? Excellent. So now when I open, this is the structure of the project. By the way, it's really more than just Python. This is built using a framework called Django. And the reason I'm using that one because it's written using Python. So Django itself, it has been written by Django. I will ask your permission, just 1 second. Okay, since it's written with Python, everything you will be able to understand. But it does so much work for you to manipulate data. For example, the package Panda. It's a package, but that package is written by Python. A NumPy that I mentioned last time, that I didn't teach, but I recorded and I put a session for you. It's also written by Python. Django, it's another package written by Python. So I can use all those packages and make a beautiful application. And that's really what we have here. That's what I gave you when you installed. In fact, you installed a framework for a web application. What do I mean by that? When I go in the bottom here, I make sure that I have all these. I am in the web directory, and if you go to the first video that I recorded in installations, I installed it in that environment. I will make sure I'm under the web, and when I write that command, Python manage.py run server. By the way, this is really a command that Python is going to run. And Python is going to look for this file called manage. By the way, where is that file? If you look at it, you go into, dive inside, and you will see that you have a file called manage right under the web. This is exactly the location I'm in. So Python is going to run this file. If you double click on that file, you really never need to do that. Just for education, since you don't really have enough knowledge in Python and everything looks scary. This is a very simple page in a little small program in Python. So when I run this application, I'm giving it an argument called run server. So this application getting that run server, and he automatically knows to run this program, and that program knows how to use all the other Python packages, everything to make it as a web application. So when I'm running it here, I'm going to run it. He's going to really, oh, why didn't like me? Did I spell Python right? I don't think so. They have an E? I don't think so. Python, let's see. Why doesn't like me? Anybody can help? Yep, I misspell manage.
Amos, we see it very, very small. Just letting you know.
Yeah,
It's
I know,
very hard
but
to read.
Somebody taught me how to make it bigger, but let me just tell you, it's not that crucial. Okay, and I wrote it also in the instructions. I'm just saying it says Python manage.py, which is this file. I will make those bigger next time. I don't want to waste the time here, but at least in the video, and I will mention and I will say it. And then I'm running Python space manage.py space run server as one word. And you know what I would do? That will be nicer. I think that will help. Thanks, Maya, for telling me. It's very important. Let me make it big here so you can see the command bigger. Okay. That's what I just typed in. Okay. Everybody can see it? Thank you. Now it's clear. Okay, I just wrote it down here. The screen is so small anyway. In fact, I have a big screen. Still, it's small for me. I run it. What it does, it's running a program, a Python program. Do you really need to know that? You really don't care, as long as it does the job. And now when I click on it, it's opening an application. That's pretty. Oh, let me minimize that. You don't mind, I will minimize that so you can see the whole screen. Okay? And this is a real web application. By the way, Academy City website, it's really based on the same technology. So it's a real life application. You can upload it to the internet, work beautifully on Amazon Web Services. Okay, I'm clicking on Intro to Machine Learning, and I'm getting a nice, by the way, when you do it, you will not see the last two. Those are projects that I'm working on, okay? But you won't see them, you will see only the first three. The third one, I intentionally left open because I didn't make my mind yet if I want to do it together with you or put it there and go over it. I might go over it and teach you and we will do it together. I believe we'll be able to. Okay, I want to see how, the level we'll get toward in 2 or 3 sessions. Okay, I click on chapter 1. Okay, it tells me machine learning landscape. That's the name of the chapter, by the way. And if I click here, I get a menu. Okay, I'm going to click on the first one and something happening. Well, hopefully it works. And I did, yeah, beautifully. And all of a sudden I'm getting some chart. And now Maya, anybody?
Yes, I'm right here.
Wouldn't you want to know how this chart was created?
Of course, I would like to know.
Exactly. Now, if you go over the book, you will see so much code. So what I did, I stripped the chapters, reorganize it, and put the code in a nice way. What does it mean, a nice way? And that's what I'm going to explain. I'm going to go here, and if you go into web, under that you have machine learning, ML, and right under that you have few important things. And the first one is the apps. You see, apps, it's applications. You need to take another course of mine that unfortunately you don't have the knowledge, but I manage this course so you don't really have to take that course, okay? But at least you know the structure. Under the applications, usually you should have application called core. In the core, you build stuff you're going to use in other applications, on another places that you're going to use. One of the first things that I built under the core is the file called utilities.py. And what is it? It looks like a huge file. It's beautiful, by the way. I uploaded most of it to the Academy City. You have a page, and
your signal's terrible.
What, mine?
Your signal.
Which signal?
I can't hear you.
So I will talk slowly.
No, it keeps breaking up when you
really?
on the software, and I can't follow.
I think that Maya was right. When I open something, you can't hear me well. Probably.
I'm just telling you because if we carry on like this, it's not so productive.
No, I know why. I'm gonna close this one as well, and will free some memories. Let me make sure I close. This one takes a lot of memory. So, and now I will wait for something to open before I talk. Thank you for telling me. Okay, after that one, this file is very important. Usually what I do when I work, I put the basic objects that I want to use. Now there's a lot of code here, and you say, Amos, please don't kill me. And I have no intentions to kill you. But this is organized in such a nice way. You can minimize all of those. You will see it's a list of functions. You already learned object-oriented. I mentioned these objects in previous class and previous sessions. We're going to dive into it slightly. as much as we need, okay? And when we need. So not everything we need in one time, because you will get lost. Definitely you'll get lost. But we'll go step by step, okay? And over time, you will see how beautiful to know object-oriented in Python and any language. It makes your life much nicer, much easier. I'm intentionally closing everything so I don't get scared. This is less scary. And let's see the structure of this file. On the top, there's many packages of Python. Those are packages that some other people have written, and I simply take it from the internet. By the way, when we did the installation, it automatically installed all of those packages. So this was cool. I don't really have to worry about it. They're already there. And to remind you, it was in the file called request. This file has a lot of those. So you see pandas, now it's making more sense. Django is just another, it's a package. And that's a framework really, it's beautiful, giving me so much power to do my work. Pandas is a package. Pillow, by the way, it's a beautiful package to be able to upload pictures, and it goes right to a database. We're not going to use it in this class, but it's a beautiful package. And there's so many dealing with dates and a lot. This one we're going to use a lot in this course, those two. Scikit, it's very important. And we have the scikit-learn. This we're going to use in this course. We already installed them. By the way, this one, for example, and there's others. I won't go over all of them, but the important ones I just mentioned. Okay, they already have been installed. And the beautiful part, they have been installed in the right way. Right way means they are in my environment. I'm not bothering any other courses you're taking. It's not going to affect anything you're using with Anaconda, with another Python you're using. Everything is installed only for this course and only for this project. Okay, so usually in a Python, you have a file of a Python. All the libraries, you write them on the top, okay? Here I put like 3, but I never use them. I use them in other places, or I know that I will use them in the future, so I kept them here, and they will come handy later on, okay? For now, I didn't use them. The first things that we should know already from the class on Python that I taught you, object-oriented, it's the first line. The first line says class. That means I'm defining an object, and I'm inheriting from an object called object. By the way, the object is defined by Python, whoever written Python. So I don't really care about it, but usually it's good to inherit from it because it has already built in many functions that come handy when I need them. But for you, you just make a habit. If you don't have an object that you already created by yourself, make an object, inherit from a general object. Beautiful. So then I have a list of many functions. All of those are basically functions that do things for me when I need them. The first one, it's a special function. This one called init, and we talked about it when I taught you object-oriented. But this time, I really made it to work for me. You don't really have to learn everything here, and I'm going to teach you in a second what's the whole things here. So I'm going to do step by step. I'm going to close this server again and show you how you should study the code. And you know, first, second time will be confusing. Come on. Wonderful. I'm going to run it. I'm going to open the web application. I'm going to go again here. And I'm going back for a second to my code. And if you look in the bottom, right after I clicked here, there's some lines here. Don't bother with them. It has to do with JavaScript and all of that. But basically, it's communicated to the server, and it created this website. Fair enough? Now I'm clicking on chapter 1. Let's go again here. You see, really nothing really happened. It's another line. It just went to another website. You don't really care about it, especially not in this course. Okay, if you take another course on software engineering, then you care about it. For now, we don't really care. When we really care is when I click here and I choose the first one. I clicked on this and it created a picture. Now I go here and I see there's a lot of stuff written here. What the hell is all of that? Well, all of that come from somebody have written some code, and in fact, I did it especially for you to help you to follow the code. Usually, I won't print all of those. Here we go. That's where we started. Went on, and here when I clicked on that one, and then it tells me I was inside a chapter 1 function. What did I mean? Okay, now it's the time to mention two things. Something I mentioned in previous session. For every chapter, we're making an object for that chapter. This is the object. By the way, a lot of those stuff, don't worry, it's only printing. So I will remove them later on. And in fact, the one that you uploaded, you don't have those. I just made those ones specifically for the session today. So everything's here will make sense. By the way, remind you, when we inherit from another object, we put it in parentheses. So I made an object called algo1, and it's inheriting from this object. And how do I know that? Because if you see on the top, it says from that, okay, utilities, import algo. This is the way I'm bringing an object that I have written in a different line. And this one, utilities, it is in the same directory. That's why it's a dot. Pay attention, this file and the utilities file, it's in the same directory. That's why a dot means in this directory, look at a file called utilities.py. You don't need to put the .py here. You automatically will know. Look inside. Okay, I'm looking inside. Look for an object that's called algo. Okay, so that's linking this object that is in this file in here. So I can use this object here without having to redefine it. Secondly, please bring another package that I already installed that called pandas. If you recall, when we did the sessions on pandas, we always imported pandas, and we usually, it's common in machine learning to call it as a short PD. So I don't have to type all the time pandas. Okay, good. Now I'm inheriting from algo. Now I have a new object. And usually what you like to do in building up an object, that you take care of the data processing or data loading, I would call it. And this is the right place to do it. By the way, I mentioned that also when we studied object-oriented, I'm defining init here, but the first things that I do, I call the parents. If you remember the cat and the human, that's exactly the same way. In the cat, I inherited from animals, and inside the init, I defined the type to be cat. I defined the number of hands, I defined the number of legs. Here I'm doing the same things. Here I'm saying to that, you know, in the algo, I have a variable called chapter ID. I have two date variable. I have a target field. We will see what the meaning of each one of them later on. But when I'm inheriting, I'm doing it just like the cat and the human. I'm calling my parents. This is the super, that means the parents, the algo. Please put inside those variables so I don't have to redefine them when I use these objects. just like we did with the cat, with the human. That's what exactly we did. So here, I'm just putting the parameters. Then I putting here some stuff for you so you can see when these objects or when this function is being called. So far, I just described how I built, and then later on, I will go over all the other lines. They're not really that hard, okay? Okay. Now that I define these objects, well, where do I use it? Now we're going from the core application, we're going to another application called Intro to Machine Learning. Those are the two. In fact, this is the mostly where we use it, in views. I open the views, and if you follow along, it looks so scary. It really should be scary, because it is scary. There's a function that knows how to take my function to the right place. You really don't have to bother thinking about it, okay? You see here I have chapter 1, a function, and there's another one called chapter 1. Please notice what does it say here? Print inside the chapter 1. Now I want to go over the code. Remember what happened here? This code had been created when I picked up this one and marked this one, the whole code ran, okay? So what I'm going to do, what really happened? The code tells me I'm in the current parent. What does it mean? In the constructor of the parent. That means it went, it's exactly what it's written here. If you see before that, sorry, you have here it says inside the chapter 1 function. Everybody see that's exactly what it's printing here? Anybody?
Yeah.
So it means you really don't care. You just know that all the functions we're going to use for chapter 1 are in this function. And in a second, we will see the other drop down. Where is the code? Beautiful. So this one, in fact, it's really this print. And then I get in constructor parent. How is that happen? When I'm building up, by the way, this is, I'm creating this line. It's a very important line. I'm creating an object and I'm calling it algo, but it is the type of algo1. It's like the cat. When we did C equal cat, parentheses, it's exactly like creating an algo1 object, and algo1, it's inheriting from algo. Just here we're using several files, but it's exactly like creating the cat, or I had the H equal human parentheses. So when I'm creating this object, automatically we know he is going to call this function. I repeat, when we're creating the object, the first things that objects does, it calls its own init function. It's like in the cat, if you recall, we used that, and I gave you some exercises, and the human, and I gave you some exercises when it's calling the init, okay? So now we can see how can I prove that it's true. Here is updating the parents, and then I put here lines I wrote in the constructor. This one, it's adding a line, you write in constructor parent, and this is another line, okay? Everybody got it? Everybody happy? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Can't you see us, Amos, on the screen?
I can, but I kind of shrink that so I can have more space on the screen. I can do that. Do you want me?
No, because I do this every time you ask.
No, I didn't shut anyone. Everybody can talk. I didn't mute anyone. Okay, everybody can talk, by the way, unless you close your microphone, okay? But I didn't close any microphone.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't close my video either. I don't know how I look like. Maybe even if I close the video, we'll have a better communication, text-less communication. Anyway, now, okay, so I'm in constructor parent. Oh, what does it mean? This is really being activated by this one. When I do that, it goes to here, and he's really pointing right what it is here. Everybody see that? This is really this line in constructor parent. After he updated the parent, he's going to write for me in constructor. That's the next one, in constructor. That means really this one is really activating the constructor of the parents as well. So just imagine how much work, and a beautiful work and so important work, so I don't have to waste my time repeating myself all the time. By the way, now that I know all of that, by the way, I would like you, if you're a smart person, that's why I didn't put this code. Try to imitate me. Try to feel comfortable enough to do that, and don't get scared. If you want, I will upload those files to the web and you can see how I did it. But it's really good exercise for you. Don't be afraid. I will go and repeat. This simple line does so much work for me. It goes to create the object, is calling the constructor of algo 1. On the way is first calling the constructor of the parents, meaning it goes to here. It put all those parameters in the right place. So now my objects know that I'm dealing with chapter 1 because I just wrote here. If you notice, this is what I wrote. Now he knows I'm in chapter 1 all the time. I don't have to tell him every time. When I will use that object, he already knows that I'm in chapter 1. Moreover, I put a target field we're going to use later on, and he knows what is the target line field. Later on, we know what it means. I don't have to repeat it again and again, okay? And if I need it or I don't need it. Moreover, we'll see later on, it's a data set where it's going to put the data for me. I'm putting all those variables, is updating them, and it works for all the chapters exactly the same. Okay, after he's updating the parents, I'm inside my own, and the first things that I do, I'm reading a CSV file. By the way, all the CSV file are organized extremely well. All of them are in a place called static, and you go into intro machine learning, data, and inside the data you have data sets, and every data we will use in this course will be under this directory. This part, you don't even have to think about it. If you want, go and dive into here and you will learn how I built it up. It's beautifully built. You don't need to know that. You don't really care either. But you do know I have a variable in this object that's called chapter. I always will know which chapter I'm in. I know that I have a project root directory. I have image path. All my images will go there in a minute. We will see it later on. My models, when we will build a machine learning models, all of them will be in the right place. The beauty of building up this one is that I do the work once and I can even forget. And if somebody else have done it for me, I don't really care how we did it, as long as I understand what does it do. And in this case, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that somebody have written for me in Panda some function. By the way, you see the pd.readCSV? That's a Panda. That's come from the library Panda. I didn't write it. The only things I need to give this function to read the file, it's tell him where it is. But where it is, it's really under this path, which already I don't really care because utilities take care of it. The only things I need to put here, it's the name of the file. So see, the name of the file is in chapter 1. When I click on it, everybody sees that I have this file right there. Everybody see it? Hello?
Yes.
By putting, so I can summarize the whole things. I talked too much and I really didn't if we knew it. I can from now on put my files of CSV here And if I want to use them and read them and make them as a table in Panda, all what I need to do is inside these objects, I will write self dot to data page. He automatically knows to get up to here. And here I will tell him, please add this file, open for me this file. And that's what he will do. He will read this file and will put it as a Panda data table. And let's see if I was right or not. Let's look if this is really a Panda table. And in fact, it is. If you look right under the constructions, I wrote OECD. Everybody sees that one? This is exactly what I just printed here, so you will know where I am. I read the file, the CSV file, and now I have an object. This object is a Panda data frame. I'm printing it, and bingo, that's what I get. I scroll down, I look at it, wow, there's a lot of columns. Okay, there's a lot of columns. How many rows do I have here? By the way, I put it as a question in the take a test. And the answer is 3,292 rows and 17 columns. All the work, it's done by Panda. I didn't do anything. The only things I was smart enough to be organized, and I don't care from now on. I want to read another file, here we go. Beautiful, here's another file. If you see GDP per capita, it's another file. I want to read it. I want to make another table of Panda. Here we go, I use exactly the same function. I tell him exactly the same location. It's exactly the same code. Bingo. This is just a detail, by the way. Many times people put a comma. So you want to tell the computer, Panda is expecting you to tell him if the comma means a separator for 1,000. So when I put it here, he knows that this is just a separator. You don't have to think about it, okay? And then the limiter means the columns. What the separator between the columns, this one, it tells him it's a table. That's just, you don't really have to kill yourself. Then encoding is a Latin, so blah, blah, blah. I don't really care. Missing data will be NA if there is a missing data, but that's more detail. The beauty here, I got 2 data frame, and here we go. I want to type, you will see this one. I go down, I'm printing this one here so you can see. By the way, if you notice, I try to do here equal so you can recognize that I have equal sign 50 times. So you know I'm exactly here. I just type this one right below, and then I print the data frame. That's the way the data frame look like. How many rows do I have now? Now I have 190 rows, 7 columns. That's this table. So this Excel, in fact, has 3,000 and something and 17 rows, columns. And this Excel file, okay, the CSV file has basically 197 columns. Beautiful. Now I'm powerful. I have all the knowledge. That's why we studied Panda. That's something I didn't teach you. I'm not requiring you to know it too well. It's too hard. But just to remind you what something we did in SQL and why I wish I could teach you BI using Python, because it's really much more powerful. What this one does, I created another function. This is a function. By the way, when I see self and the name of a function, that means this function is being defined as one of the function of this. So I'm going to close it for a second, this function, and focus on this one. In the end of the constructor, I'm just calling this function, and this function I'm transferring to data frame. This is the first data frame, which is my first Excel, and the second one, it's a second data frame, which is my second Excel. To Excel, I'm transferring to this function. And what I want this function to bring me back, it's bringing me back 3 data frames. So I'm giving him 2 Excels, and he's going to generate for me 3 data frames that I'm going to use later on in this chapter. Okay, and let's see what they are. Okay, what are those three? So I need to go to this function. By the way, if you forgot where you put it, you can do Control B, will take you right to that function. You see, it took me from here to here. You know, self means it's in this object. This is the name of the function. So when I mark it here, I do Control / in Windows. Equivalent, I think it's Command / what did I do now? Control Z. No, I did Control /. I should have done Control B. You probably Command B will take you either in Mac. Okay, what do I have here? Here, first of all, I wanted to print so you know that we really got to this point. So this is really a function that calls another function. It's convenient, so if in the future I want to use something like that, I can go here. It's splitting really the code in a nice way so you can be focused on the things. When this one works, you can forget about it. So let's see what we have here. I wrote here in prepare country state. By the way, who printed this part? This is exactly those lines. I'm in this function now, okay? Right after that, I'm printing this one. It's really the Panda of the first Excel. I'm just reprinting it. So that's what it does here. It's reprinting what I printed before. So just to make sure that I got the right one, it is, in fact, you see, 3,292 rows, 17 columns. I'm reprinting, okay? And then I have another command. This one, it's a special, if you remember in SQL, we use the where to filter certain rows. This one tells him in this Panda, please filter that I have only the rows in which the column inequality is equal to total. So if I look at this table, there is a column that called inequality. Anybody sees inequality here? Yeah, here we go. In the inequality, give me only the rows in this column. This is the way I call a column in Panda data frame. Give me only the rows that has a character of T or T. So ignore all the rest, okay? So that's filtering. We had it also in my session in Pandas. I showed it. I didn't dive too much, but this one I did cover. Okay, more sophisticated one I avoided. We won't use much of that, but this is the basic one, and I would like you to know that. So after I filter, I printed it again, and I wanted you to see what does it really does. So let's see all this print out up to this point. So let's go down, and here we go. After filtering, that's exactly what it says. I have another line, that's the print 20 times this one. Then I'm going to print the data frame called OECD, and I'm printing it, and here we go. If you go to the bottom, it looks exactly the same, but if you go to the bottom, I have only 888. So from a Panda data frame that was 3,292, I have only left with 888, but I still have the same number of columns because I didn't filter any column. By the way, I didn't really have to print this one to know this command tells me only the shape, okay? This shape, in fact, here it tells me how many rows. This command by itself, we have seen it in the class when I reviewed the Panda class. Please go and see that. Shape means tell me how many rows and columns I have in this data frame. Beautiful. Now we are here. After pivot, this one, if you remember, the first things we did in BI, we use SQL. Here we're using Pandas really to do the job for me. It's really elegant. What this one does, if you notice, let me open I think I have the Excel. No, I closed it. Too bad, I shouldn't. Let me no, I do have it open. By the way, there's a lot of columns in this Panda. You see there's a lot of columns. I just focused on showing you only 3 columns. There is a country column. There's a lot of them. I hide the other ones, okay? I hide the other one. You can see, if you open this one, you will see the other columns. I hide it just for you. I just showing those 3 columns that are relevant for this comment. If you don't remember that one, it's fine. I'm not going to ask it in the exam. Just to remind you, it's similar to what we did in the BI. Just this one is very elegant. I'm telling him, make me a pivot table. On the first column, make me a country column. Take the column of indicator and sum up all the values and make the indicator to be the row, the columns. In another word, from this type of table, make me a table that looks like this one. And what do we see here? I have country and, no, sorry, did I miss? Yeah, I missed. I want this one. Okay, from this data frame, build up this data frame, but this one, do a trick like we did in SQL, put all the countries here, and in the columns, look at the Excel, and every time you see dwelling without basic facilities, and for Australia, you got here 1.1. Keep going to, if you see Australia again, anybody see? Yeah, here we go. I see another one. Please add them up and move on all of them. Add them up, that will be the first number, right? Country. And if I see dwelling, see I have only 1.1. That's only the first one, okay? And that's the way it's building up. I won't get into that too much, but basically is massaging the data that I have in my Excel. It makes it like a pivot. Those are the variables, the new variables, and I have the countries. How many countries I have here? I can go down and just look it up. 37 on 24 columns. Okay, so the new data from this command, okay, it's a new data frame that has 37 rows and 24 columns. We will see we don't really need all of them. Okay, we got to this point. Then we're doing the same things. Let's look at the other table. We transfer to this function two Excels, two data frames that represent Excel. We're looking at the second one, GDP per capita. We have GDP per capita. In fact, what I'm doing here, I'm renaming a column that called 2015. I'm renaming a column in the data frame. What do I mean by that? The original one has a column says 2015. That's a bad name. You really don't have to do that if you don't want, but I like to rename it in what it is. In fact, this column, it's really the GDP per capita for that year. So a way to change a name in a data frame, it's just another function called rename. I think you have it in the tutorial. I wouldn't bother to remember it. If you forget, you go Google and you write data frame, Panda, rename a column, and you will see this command online, okay? So don't bother not to remember this one. Honestly, if you ask me, I will not remember it. But I always know that I use that. I will come back to this code and I will copy my code. So there's no way I can remember all of that. No way in the world. And I'm not expecting you either, okay? So now I say, after rename, I'm reprinting it. So here we go. After rename, if you see the same column, now the column has a different name. Very simple. I didn't really do any sophisticated stuff. Next part, it's very important. It's called set index. It's also a function of Panda. That's very important, okay? If you forgot the command, at least remember that there is such a thing and look it up in Google if you forgot how to do it. It takes the first column, it makes it as an index, okay? That's what it does. And the second one, it says in place. That means when you do that, please, whatever the name here, you know, make it on this data frame. Don't give it to me as an output. After this command, this one will be like with the new structure of having an index. So if I'm printing the same things again, after this one, what I'm getting, it's the same table, it looks just the same. The only difference here, that in the original one, the index was 0, 1, 2, 3, and now I took the first column to be the index of this table. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that's another function. If you don't remember, don't kill yourself. I'm not going to kill you in the exam on that one. That's definitely not. Okay, beautiful. I pointed it, and finally we're getting to a very, this one, if you don't remember, that's fine too. It's like combining two tables in SQL. We combine those two tables, that's a merge. Panda has a special function called a merge. I'm merging the first Excel with the second Excel. Now, both of them, if you notice, has the countries on the left, and the same things with the other one. I will just go up again. You see all the countries. But if you have good eyes, this table, okay, this table of the first table, okay, it has only 37 rows. The second table, if we see it, after we index, we have 190 rows. That means in the second table, I have 190 rows of countries, and the first table, I have only 37. So when I'm merging, it might get confused. What I'm telling him here, you know what? Give me only the one that match. Definitely, the output here will be a new Panda data frame that has a match in both tables. So only countries that are in two Excels will be in my new data frame. So this data frame, which I call full country state, it is really nothing but the new data frame, by the way. And if you see this one, the new one, oh, it has only 36 rows and 30 columns, because there is only 36 countries that matching in both tables. Otherwise, they are gone if they don't have a match. Beautiful. I just printed it up here. This is ready if you see. And then one thing that I have done here, I sorted the data. If you look at the data here in this table, after I merged them, I have a column GDP per capita, but the numbers are not sorted. I want that table, it's like order by in SQL. So here we go. I ordered them, this command of sort values, it does nothing but sorting the numbers. That's pretty cool. It's preparing it for plotting. Okay, I got that one. I have all the countries, but it's all sorted by GDP per capita for every country. By the way, you can see Luxembourg has the highest, okay? More than 100,000. Pretty nice to live there, okay? Then after this one, we moving on. That's after sorting. And now it's another trick. I'm taking this data, by the way, this data has a 30, how many rows I have? 36. I'm splitting it to two databases. A database that I will take some rows, I will remove them and keep them in another database. So I'm making a list. Everybody see that one you should know. It's a list of 0, 1, 6, 8. That's a list of rows that I want to remove. And the other one, it's a list of everything from 0 to 35. Remember, so I have 36 numbers. I'm turning it to a set. I mentioned that in the tutorial. And I'm subtracting this from this. That means if I print this one will not have those numbers. So I took the numbers from 0 to 35, including, and I split it to some numbers, and the other one is the rest of the other numbers. Why did I do that? Because I want to take now this data and split it to two. And the way to split it I will first of all show you the final. In fact, all that one I did, I printed here so you can see it, and I'll go over that in a second. But the output will be, this is all the data. This one will be the data that has all the data beside the one that I removed. And this one will be a data set of the rows that I removed. So this is all the data. This is a data frame with data not including some rows that I removed. And this one include the rows that I am removing. So let's go back and see how this code does it, just to demonstrate it, okay? So let's see. I did all the printout here. By the way, if you look at this code, this is basically taking all the data, but this time I am filtering the columns. I want only 2 columns. I don't want like all those columns. See, we have a lot of columns here. We have all those columns. I only want the GDP, and I want GDP per capita, and I want the life satisfaction, which is another variable here somewhere, okay? So only those 2 columns I want. So when I'm printing it, by the way, if after this one, the size of this one, okay, you will see right after printing it, so I'm going to print it. That's what I did. I'm getting only those 2, and don't forget, I'm getting the index. It looks like 3 columns, but really I have only 2 columns and an index, okay? How many rows and columns I have? Here we go, I printed it up. I use the function shape of a data frame. So I have 36 by 2, that's my database. This one, it's after I'm filtering some of the rows. So I'm printing this one now. And I'm looking on how many rows do I have? Only 29, okay? And then I'm printing the other one, the small, these are the rows that I removed. I removed 7 rows, and this data have 2 columns. So in another word, the bottom line, and you can forget about it now for the rest of the chapter. The beauty of this object that we created called Algo1, all what it does, it reads 2 files of Excel, massage the data in another function, and generate 3 small data sets. Those data sets, the bottom line is, one has 37 rows and 2 columns. This one has 29 rows and 2 columns. And this one has 7 rows and 2 columns. From now on, I can forget about this object. I don't really care. All what I care now, that in my objects Algo1, after I created it here, this Algo has 3 data sets. One has 37 by 2 columns. The other one has 29 by 2. And the third one has 7 by 2. That's it. I forgot about it. You can clean up your mind and ask me why did I bother you in doing it. I will still 2 minutes. Hello? Everybody with me?
Yes, we stay here.
Yeah, I spoke too much.
Yes, yes.
I think I spoke too much. But let me finish, and we will take our time. First of all, I want to tell you the sky is the limit. As much as you want to dive in, I give you everything you need. I'm not going to ask you all that in the exam. Okay, I might ask you, what did we do in the constructor of Algo1? And the answer should be, we got the data ready for the chapter. We massage the data. We use Panda to read the Excel. We combined those 2 together with some function. We ended up with 3 data sets. That's a complete answer. Going into the detail, I don't really care. Frankly, you are as a manager, but if you really want to be a good manager, you should know that. And in one day, you ask one of your computer scientists and tell him, please make me an object similar to that will prepare for me those 3 data sets. He writes the function, he makes the object, and that's good enough. Fair enough? So, remind you how did we get here? And I will conclude the session today because it's much too much. The reason I got there is because I moved from here to here, okay? When I clicked on that, it's activating all the function that brought me to this point. So theoretically, we got just to here. Now we would like to understand the remaining, but that will take more than 5 minutes, and I'm not going to steal your time. I will do it for next session. I will do a review because it's a lot of things to swallow in one session. And this one, basically, just one word, it will create the plot. You will plot it, and you will save the plot, and then it will show it in here. So this code, basically, after I created the data, it does a plot, it will save the file. By the way, there is another function that I will talk about it next week. And then this command tells him, show me a web page in here showing me the picture. And that we'll do next week. Questions, guys? Sorry I took too much of your time. Moria, you with me?
Thank you.
I want to see everybody before you leave. Show me your face. I'll show my face too. I'm not checking on you. I'm not really checking who was or who wasn't. Just really would like to see your face. That's all. Don't worry about it. I'm not spying on you. Work hard. Honestly, if there is a course that from everything that I'm teaching, in my opinion, this is the most important for you as a tool, not as a topic in finance, a topic in whatever, but as a tool, this is the most important course.